What's up guys, it's your favorite Kiwi coach and give me 6 months of your time and I'll give you the best golf swing of your life. So welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, we are going to be reacting to another Dr. Kwon lesson. And this particular lesson is going to be with a high-level amateur golfer who is struggling with spinning out their upper body and lower body in transition, and they're a little bit too much of an arm-driven swing. So if you struggle with that yourself, this is the perfect video for you, and let's go ahead and jump in. But before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Kiwi Golf Japan. If you did not know, YouTube does not pay the bills. So if you want to help support this YouTube channel, down below after the video is over, there'll be a link to our Kiwi Platinum membership site. If you guys go ahead and sign up, you'll get access to a bunch of videos and really help support us. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in. So before we get too far into the video, let me give you a little bit of background on what's about to occur, because they kind of just start the lesson with not so much context. So you guys might be confused. So let me give you the context first, and then from there, the whole video should make a whole lot more sense. So like I said in the intro, this is going to be a high-level amateur golfer who's really struggling with spinning out their overall body movement throughout the downswing, and then maybe as well, they're a little bit too much of an arm-driven swing as well. Now, when it comes to the lesson with Dr. Kwon, typically, he has a staircase approach to learning, or kind of like an implementation process, which is going to be a motor learning principle that's going to allow you to get the swing results a lot quicker if you go ahead and do it this way. So they're going to be starting out the video in phase one, which in phase one, in this particular case, he will be using a golf club, the high-level amateur golfer. However, he won't be hitting a golf ball per se, and he won't be making a normal swing. He's still going to be doing kind of like an iteration of a drill as he's attempting to do the motions that they want to do. Now, when it comes to how we are going to be reacting to this video, everything that they talk about, I'm going to further explain to you guys and hopefully simplify for you guys so you have a better understanding. But then also, I'm going to look at it under the lens of a golf instructor and a golf lesson, and also show you guys maybe if you're trying to do this yourself and teach yourself, a lot of the processes that they use are, yes, good, but also maybe flawed as well, and can make it more and more difficult for you to actually get the results. Last thing I want to do before we start the video, this is another video from Be Better Golf. Again, if you want to learn from a bunch of different American golf instructors, highly recommend Be Better Golf's channel, because it's literally the best channel on YouTube for that. This Brendan, who you're actually going to see in this video, who is the high-level amateur golfer, he goes around to a bunch of golf instructors throughout America, takes lessons from them, and then uploads it onto YouTube. So if you guys speak English, best channel ever, go ahead and check that out. I'll leave the link down below. And now let's start the video.
So in using the step drills, you have to actually develop a body-driven backswing and the body-driven downswing. Okay.
Okay.
So in your case, you just turn, but then actually using your arms to pull it down.
Isn't that what you told me to do?
No, you said it should be something like this.
Yeah.
So when you turn your body, turn and then throw the arms instead of pulling it down.
Okay.
So let me break that down for you guys as well, because you might be confused. So it's not like he's saying you shouldn't use your arms at all. It's more so how you go ahead and use your hands. And specifically, I think he's making reference to kind of the forces and torques that you apply to the grip. So when it comes to Brendan, who is going to be this person right here, the high-level amateur golfer, in transition, the direction that he's pulling the grip is more so towards himself, towards his body, as well as kind of out towards the golf ball. And that's not necessarily what Dr. Kwon would want him to do. So Dr. Kwon is saying he wants him to throw the club head, or release the club head with more so of a throwing motion as opposed to a pulling motion. But in my personal opinion, I think the better way to talk about it is the grip in transition should actually start to move away from the body before it starts to arc and then move back towards the golf ball and towards the body as well in that section. So he's saying you don't want to use your arms, but really he does want you to use your arms. It's just more so in a specific pattern, and hopefully that made sense, and let's continue.
So you have active body motion here.
So the body's moving all right.
Throw the arms. Before we
we'll get to that. Yeah,
let's do
go through the protocol.
step drills. So in stage one, you will start with both feet together.
Yep.
And then
So just like I said in the intro, he is going to be using a motor learning process. And stage one, you will be using the golf club, you will be making a swing. However, it's not going to be a normal swing where your feet are kind of static. You're going to have your feet together. And then from there, as you start to make a step, you're going to start to shift your upper body away from the golf ball. And then at a certain point in that backswing, you're going to start to shift your upper body back towards kind of more of a centered position. And then from there, that's kind of the drill. So it's not necessarily a normal golf swing. However, it's getting closer and closer to a normal golf swing. and this would be the stage 1 in his motor learning process.
Initial throw this way, and then from this position, take the step first. So among the grand principles, this is about the asynchronous. You will take a step first.
Disconnects the upper from the lower.
So
Right?
you have this shift motion, lower body action, then turn the upper body, and as not that far.
Oh, sorry.
As your club is about here, going about here, you have to take the second step already, and then the second step will complete about here before you reach the top of backswing position,
Right.
and then take the second step. But now,
So now the purpose of this drill is just to add a little bit more dynamicness into the swing. So if you're one of the players like Brendan where your overall swing is a little bit just spinning out, there's a lot of rotation, but there's not necessarily any type of linear motion to the swing, you're going to want to introduce a little bit of linear motion just to get that dynamic movement pattern that a lot of the great players in the game of golf have. So this is exactly why they're trying to work on this drill. And then also when it comes to the actual real golf swing, will the pressure shifts happen at the exact times that they are talking about? Maybe not. Maybe Dr. Kwon is being a little bit exaggerated with the movements and having him shift a little bit earlier than he should, just because he knows he's a little bit too much of a spinnier player. So again, that's not something that Dr. Kwon said, and I could be completely wrong. However, just based off kind of my understanding of teaching, that would be a good approach to go ahead and do, slightly exaggerate the movement, especially when you're first starting out.
do not pay attention to your body motion. Try to direct your attention to something else.
Yeah, I'm very much an external kind of.
So let's see. Let's use this external focus.
Yeah.
And this is
All right, so this is the part of the video where when it comes to instruction side, I kind of get, however, also at the same time, I feel like this is maybe too early to start to focus on external. So when they're talking about an external cue, that means that's something that is outside of your body. So if you're doing, let's say, an internal cue, if you were focusing on the shifting of your upper body at a specific time, that would be more so of an internal cue. Versus if you're doing, let's say, an external cue, imagine that you had, let's give you an example if you're trying to get a little bit more handle first. Imagine that you had like a tree limb about this height, and all you're trying to do is hit it below that tree. That would be a little bit more of an external cue, right? So the tree limb would be the external cue, and then from there your body is going to try to naturally react to hit it below that tree. So when it comes to golf lessons, I think a combination of internal and external are definitely great. Now, when you're initially working on motions, I think internal is typically the best, especially when you're doing swings without a golf ball. However, as you progress with the internal cues and you start to get the body motion better and better, I do believe as you start to go out towards the course, it should start to get more and more external and less internal. But whenever you're starting the process, in my personal opinion, I feel like going to an external cue this quickly would probably not be the approach I would take. However, that's the approach that Dr. Kwon is taking, so let's continue and then see how this video goes.
not that educational, but
That's fine.
as a professor at university, I shouldn't do this, but it works.
Okay.
So imagine here you have someone you really hate.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be the politicians,
Okay.
one of the politicians,
Sure.
okay? Or it could be someone, your rival, or someone who did a bad thing to you
Yep.
in the past.
Sure.
So imagine someone you really hate. Every time you swing, you are
You can-
getting rid of this person.
Okay.
Don't
Gotcha.
worry about what your body does.
Okay. Okay.
So let's practice stage one.
So let's stop it there. So as you can tell, the external cue in this case is an actual person, a human being that Brendan, when he makes the swing, is trying to basically kill, apparently, from what Dr. Kwon was saying there. But the purpose of this, in my opinion, I think what they're trying to do is when he's actually making the swing itself, with the external cue of someone that he doesn't necessarily like, maybe he's going to activate the body a little bit more, maybe be a little bit aggressive with the body motion, trying to get that shift and churn concept, but a little bit more at an aggressive state. I think that's what Dr. Kwon is trying to get him to do. Now, in my personal opinion, I feel like this goes against a lot of motor learning principles because the first thing is typically you don't want to start out at full speed when you do something new. Typically, you want to break it down at a slower speed, get the sequencing correct, and then from there continue to progress. However, we don't know what happened before this video started. Maybe they shot another video before this that's on Brendan's channel, and they already went through the slower steps. I could be completely wrong here, and this is the correct timing to do this. However, if that's not the case, and this is really his first attempt at doing this motion, I feel like this would be way too early to do what they're doing, but let's continue and see what happens.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. Now, the second step, the timing of the second step is late.
It's too late.
So the second step has to be done as you go up. Take this step.
And let me explain that for you as well, because I think Brendan was confused, and then Dr. Kwon had to explain this to him a few times before he actually kind of got the overall concept. So when Brendan made that swing, it wasn't like the actual physical stepping was late. He stepped at the correct time. However, when it comes to stepping, not only is it the stepping, it's also the whole body or the center of mass also shifting at that same time, right? That's the whole shift then turn concept. So when it came to Brendan's swing right there, he stepped his foot forward, but he didn't really shift his whole center of mass forward. So that's what Dr. Kwon is saying when he said the overall step was too late in that case. It wasn't the step itself, it was the upper body and the center of mass shifting forward with that step at the right time was the issue when it came to that particular swing.
So imagine this. When somebody walks,
Yep.
normally you don't walk like this.
Yeah.
You don't reach
I'm
out.
good. I'm safe. Okay, here we go.
Unless it's dark in the night,
Right.
or you're walking on the ice or something, then you don't walk like this. Rather, you just let your body go forward, and then your foot will move forward every time. So you just keep going this way.
All right, so this is something that we see a lot with Dr. Kwon, and when it comes to his personal teaching style, this is what he likes to do. So he uses a lot of analogies, which I think is a great way to teach, and I think it could be definitely effective. Now, one of the issues that I've definitely found throughout this whole lesson was there's a huge lack in visual feedback as well as kinesthetic feedback, and there's a lot of basically just auditory type of feedback. So he's basically telling him, hey, this was good, this was bad. And then what Brendan has to do is based off his feeling that he felt, he has to classify, okay, that feeling was wrong, and then try to fix it further. Now, I find with the better and better player, you can definitely get away with this approach and it could be somewhat effective. However, for most golfers out there, for most of you guys watching this, if you're trying to do something similar, this would probably be a terrible approach when you try to actually go about doing this. And, Dr. Kwon has all this technology in his studio, as well as he has a phone on him as well. I just don't get why there's not more visual feedback as well as kinesthetic feedback where he actually supports Brendan, because I think this whole process of them trying to get the motion took like maybe 15 minutes when it could have taken less than 5 minutes for him to get if they would have had a little bit more visual feedback with it. But again, that's just my personal opinion. All right, that's it for you guys on YouTube. But before you guys click off, let me give you some quick wrap-up points. So when it comes to the overall beginning of the lesson, remember, Brendan, the elite amateur golfer over here, was struggling with the early rotation of the ribcage and the pelvis, and then the overall pulling direction of the grip was a little bit off. So overall, the swing was a little bit more on the steeper side, a little bit more across the golf ball, and the swing just wasn't dynamic and it wasn't really in the correct sequence, so he was losing out a lot of speed, as well as just the overall smash factor amount could have been a lot higher if he would have gotten that a whole lot better. So the main things that they were trying to work on overall was how can we add in a little bit more of a shift and a turn with the correct sequence so that the body does not spin. So if you want to watch this whole video and you see exactly what they talked about, make sure to definitely sign up for our Kiwi Platinum membership site. Again, not only can you get access to this video, you can get access to over 300 videos on that site, and as well, you help support this YouTube channel. So there'll be a link for that down below, as well as Brendan's YouTube channel if you speak English. Link for that down below as well. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.